boring. Where you can feast with the nectar of the gods. You'll always have a seat at Norse Hall.
Welcome everybody to Top Dog Coverage, where you can follow us at Top Dog Coverage on YouTube, X, which is Twitter, because Twitter is a lot cooler than saying X, but TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it, we're at it. Top Dog Coverage. And if you want to hit us with some of your awesome stories, fantasy football stories, and some of your other awesome football stories, hit us at topdogcoverage@gmail.com. C-Dub, main man, what is going on, my friend?
What do you do, baby boo?
Hey, boo-boo.
How you feeling?
Another week closer, my friend. Another week closer.
Yeah, I mean, we got camp starting in like, what, a few weeks? A couple weeks?
Yeah, man. And I have been looking around and seeing stuff, and one thing I'm excited to see are those new New Orleans Saints football helmets, man. Those things are looking pretty phenomenal, if I may say so myself.
Pretty sweet. They did an awesome design on that, man. Way better than the black helmets that they did a couple years ago, 2022.
Yeah.
So they're only going to be wearing them with the Color Rush uniforms, too. So kind of be like an all icy white out uniform. So it'd be pretty clean.
Yeah, I don't think you want to overdo it, right? You want to give them a little taste of what they're going to get.
Yeah, I think the detail on it, like a little bit of the speckled piece on the back of the helmet, and then that gold strip with the fleur-de-lis inside of it, chef's touch. Right there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There's what was the Commanders are doing their throwbacks too.
Yeah, it's just basically the Redskin uniforms.
Are they actually
No, that doesn't have the Redskin logo on there. It's just the W. But it looks exactly like, the old school Redskin uniforms, just without the, I guess, Redskin? I don't know.
I think they should bring it back.
I know. I think they should too. I mean, Commanders, kind of a lame name. I'm going to be completely honest.
Nah. I try to be, against the crowd or against the votes, but it's kind of lame.
Jaden Daniels, awesome. Commander's name, not so awesome.
Rip, for real. Like, who thought of the Commanders?
Well, I mean, football team, I guess they expired. They couldn't do that. They didn't want to do that one anymore. So,
how bad is it? And how bad has it got to be that your organization does not have a plan to the part where you're naming your football team?
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you how awesome Dan Snyder was during his era, right? He had more name changes than playoff wins. So,
true story. Now they got more owners than they do playoff wins as well.
Hey, that's all right. They drafted the franchise. I mean, they're sitting in a good spot. The rebuild went a lot faster than they anticipated. Now they just got to pay your boy. Scary Terry needs a payday.
Yeah, and you know what? There's been rumors about him getting traded. Like, that would be the dumbest thing you would do, is trade him away right now, knowing that he's an alpha over there. He has really good chemistry with Jaden Daniels. Like, I don't think you would want to take away from what they've already put together. That would kind of be not in their best interest. So,
yeah, and I don't think Terry McLaurin's like an elite receiver, especially as he's getting older. But he's a very solid number one. I think he could be your go-to guy, and he can help usher in and teach young guys, whether you take some newer guys in the drafts, in the upcoming draft classes and whatnot. But I think McLaurin could be that centerpiece that helps make your offense go. You don't want to take away Dan Daniels' favorite target, because otherwise you're gonna have old man Ertz as the number one target.
Yeah, and soon after, you know what I mean, when Ertz leaves, Ben Sennett's gonna step up, and But
You hope.
with all of that, you don't want, again, like you were saying, like, do you really want old man Ertz to be your number one target? No, you don't. Like, you know what I mean? He can get hurt very easily. He's been playing at a high level. He was elite on the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what I mean? Then coming over to the Cardinals, he was still making plays. He's still a great tight end. But you don't want that to be your reliable source of check down, check down, check down. And that is not what Jaden Daniels, after all that VR time between seasons, between going from college to the NFL, I don't think he's sitting there ready to just check down all the time.
Yeah, he's king of the big plays over there. But I mean, Ertz, it's crazy that as he's gotten older, I mean, he's able to get open. Now he falls down right away. You're getting absolutely zero yak yards up to catch, right?
But his
But I mean,
separation is ridiculous.
it's crazy. It's like, all right, well, this guy can still play. He might not get you very many. He'll have like 10 catches, 70 yards, and just help you move the chains. First down
Yeah.
after first down.
He did, and that's the thing that and when people want to argue against touchdowns or what have you, it's like that's time management. If you get the more first downs you get, just think about it. Basically, another 40 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and the thing too with it is the touchdowns. They're so hit or miss, man. Like you're gonna have some natural touchdown regression. I don't think he's gonna score 15 touchdowns again this season. I'm talking about Terry McLaurin on that piece. I don't know how many Ertz had, but I mean, their number 2 receiver right now is Noah Brown, and then you have Debo Samuel in the slot. So I mean, can Debo be that number 1? His most yards he's ever had is 1,100 that one season, and I think that was total yards. I don't even know if that was receiving.
yeah, but
So
when he is out, though, he's not out for like 1 or 2 games. He's usually out for a long period of time. That's his biggest downfall. Even though when he has the ball, he is a cannon. Like that dude he just runs through anybody. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
but he's also getting older too. So
yeah, that's what I was surprised at that trade, to be honest with you.
yeah, and I think doesn't he need a new deal as well, or did he recently got paid?
I would have to look that up, but I think that they didn't want to pay him, to be honest with you. That's what I believe. But
Yeah, I mean they just got paid. They paid Ayuk, and then they're hoping that their first round pick Ricky Pearsall takes a leap this year. So I don't know. Good luck to the 49ers, I guess.
well, we will. Let's get into some other news as well, besides the Commanders, even though they're fun to talk about. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. Let's. Time for the news, baby. All right. So, have you heard about this new NFLPA to appeal the collusion rule?
That thing had like 25 or 30 pages, if not more.
Yeah.
So I was too intimidated to read it, to be honest. But it sounds pretty crazy from the clip notes.
Yeah, so the details of the decision were revealed 2 weeks ago, and after both parties agreed to suppress the findings, they say. The league and union
That's
struck
never
a confidentiality agreement in an attempt to keep Droney's ruling secret, ESPN's Don Van Natta Jr. and Kalen Collar report. Things change when an investigation from Pablo Torre finds out, which is published on page 61, a document detailing a portion of Droney's findings in the wake of a collusions case outcome becoming public knowledge. Some players have expressed surprise at the union's role in the agreeing to bury it, because as we all know, this is what the union's supposed to do. They're supposed to not let things get buried, right? They're supposed to bring it from the surface.
It's supposed to protect the players, protect the people they're representing.
Right. So this situation has now taken another interesting turn. The NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell decided last night to appeal the ruling, which stated the NFL did not engage in collusion, but also that the teams were urged to restrict guarantees in player contracts per the ESPN report. The CBA dictates appeals to be made within 10 days of a ruling, such as being made, but one of the terms of the confidentiality agreement was that the Players Association would be able to find an appeal well after that period. The appeal is a reflection of our obligation to enforce the CBA and our commitment to protecting our players' interests, a senior NFLPA source told ESPN. About the appeal decision, we'll do what's best for the players, and we'll exhaust our options in doing so. I don't know about all this, man.
It sounds like a bunch of baloney to me.
Yeah, yeah, and you know
Not like
what?
they're trying to save face.
Yeah, that's exact. And if what are they trying to do? They're really trying to make sure that it's that there's not so much guaranteed money.
I think the whole Deshaun Watson deal, you know how his deal was fully guaranteed?
Yeah,
I think they wanted to make sure. Remember when Lamar Jackson was like a free agent or restricted, or the Ravens held exclusive rights free agent or whatever?
yeah,
So he was able to talk to other teams, but nobody wanted to offer him. And it was just, you had to give up 2 first-round picks or something.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, nobody offered him Lamar Jackson 2 first-round picks.
Highly doubtful.
Right. It's just, they didn't want to mess up the contract. They didn't. He's looking for a fully guaranteed deal, and all of them colluded and was like, nah, we're not even offering. So I don't know. It's just, it's crazy. This whole thing is just wild to me.
You're gonna tell me Jamal Adams was traded for 2 firsts, 2/3, and a player, but you don't want to give something up for
Right. You want to give
Jackson.
that up for Lamar Jackson? Like, come on, get out of here.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, he was what, a 2-time MVP at that time, or 1-time MVP? I don't know, something like that. It's like, come on, man.
pretty wild.
Yeah, and he was still young. And he was 24, 25, something.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's wild.
Also, just going to throw it in there that this news is brought to you by Norse-Hall.com. So if you guys want to go get some hot sauce, get some mead, go to Norse-Hall.com. And if you guys want some awesome tunes, maybe some intro music and stuff, go on to Instagram and go to FGM Label. That's First God Movement, FGM Label on Instagram. Inbox that production company, and you will have, trust me, you're going to have some of the best music that you've ever had inside your computer so that you can start your own shows.
Some fire beats for sure.
Yeah. What else you got for us?
So this actually came out today. So according to Rick Stroud, Buccaneers All-Pro left tackle Tristan Wirfs is expected to be sidelined for the start of the 2025 regular season after undergoing arthroscopic surgery on his right knee. So this is due to an injury that he dealt with at in November from last year. He missed 1 game before he returned to the field, but I guess he was having some issues in the offseason that kind of limited him during the spring practices. So it just kind of made sense. Let's go in and just get the surgery, get it done, and try to get back there as fast as we can. So he's more than likely guaranteed to start on the PUP list. So he'll miss the first 4 weeks of the season, which for the Buccaneers, I believe they have a pretty daunting schedule. I think they play the Eagles and some other teams amongst that start.
Yeah, I mean they have relatively an above average easier. They're within the top 10 easiest. But yeah, they do have. I mean the teams that they play, you're talking playoff caliber. So
yeah, so I think so let's see. So they played the Falcons, Texans, Jets, and Eagles and Seahawks during that time that he'd probably miss.
Oof. Those are defensive head coach minds too. That's the one thing you don't want. Especially, I mean, Wirfs was the first guy off the board, wasn't he, in the top 10? The first offensive lineman, I think.
I believe so. Yeah, he started his career out at right tackle, and then he moved to left tackle, and I believe he's an All-Pro at both positions. So he's a great tackle, great player. So it's gonna be a big hit for the Buccaneers start the season.
Did you ever see him jump out of the shallow end of a pool?
Yeah,
like
just
dude, no hands.
Crazy amount of explosiveness, just
like you're talking about a guy that's like well over 300 pounds, right? And
yeah.
And you're jumping out of the shallow end. By the way, that's 3 feet, people. And I know people will be like, "Oh, I can do it." Go do it. You let me know how it goes, all right?
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy the amount of athleticism to jump out of the shallow part of the pool like that.
By the way,
just straight, just from pool right on the ground, flat feet, everything.
Like it ain't nothing.
Nothing.
By the way, make sure you type in your reaction to how you can't do it at topdogcoverage@gmail.com because you won't be able to talk once you bust your face against the side of the pool. So
right.
It's very hard. I mean, like you're talking about, just running in water is hard enough. Okay, to have explosive power to pop
Yeah.
up, like get out of here, get out of here. All right. Um, in other news, the Rams are not prepared to offer a market-topping deal to running back Kyron Williams, and some people are like, well, "Why not?" Well, they may or may not have had this problem back in 2018. So, Kyron Williams and the Rams have discussed an extension this offseason, and plenty of time remains for a deal to be struck before week one. If and when a second contract is in hand for the fourth-year running back, it should not be expected to move him to the top of the market. Los Angeles' regime, led by general manager Les Snead and head coach Sean McVay, authorized a big ticket running back deal in the case of Todd Gurley back in 2018. That $57.5 million pact proved to be a mistake given the injury issues and a decline in play, which resulted in Gurley's release 2 years later and eventual retirement after a brief NFL career. A similar investment in Williams is unlikely. So I can see I can see, them not wanting to make this mistake again. I understand it. Todd Gurley, when he came in, he was a problem, and then was it just me, or did, like, as soon as he came in, he had 2 years of just like, yo, who is this man? Like, where did he come from? And then just disappeared.
Well, I believe isn't he the one that took Nick Chubb's job at Georgia? Because I know he was a running back at Georgia.
I
I
don't
think
know.
because Nick Chubb had that really bad knee injury, and then I think Todd Gurley took over for him after that. I think I might be getting their timelines mixed up a little bit, but yeah, I mean, he was a pretty good prospect coming out of Georgia there, so he had some really elite seasons, especially in their playoff runs.
Yeah.
I guess that knee just finally gave out after he got paid, which is very unfortunate. So,
And
and
didn't it go to the other knee too?
I don't something. Yeah, I mean he's been retired since for a long time now.
At
You
least
know,
7 years. At
but
least not 7 years. At least 7 years since he got his contract. So I think 5 years he's been gone.
yeah. So and the thing with the Rams too is, I mean, do you really want to give Kyron Williams a top market deal when you actually put some pretty significant resources into running back position over the last couple of seasons?
The
Like, I mean, they
I
drafted
mean,
Blake Corum, the third round pick,
mhm.
and then they took Jaquez Hunter. I think it was in the fourth or fifth round. So when most people are going to a committee, I know Sean McVay loves the guy, but at the end of the day, it is business. They're going to have some pretty big contracts they're going to have to give out too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, look at your wide receiver right now, breaking breaking all sorts of records just in year one. It's like he's probably gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if year three he's gonna ask for a restructure or something. Which, hey, not
Oh
for nothing,
yeah,
you got somebody like that, he deserves it. So
I think after the season he's eligible for an extension. Talk
yeah.
about Puka.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Well done too. So I mean, fifth rounder, fifth rounder. Just was he a fifth rounder?
I think
I think he
so.
was.
He was a late round pick. I mean, his
Yeah,
biggest issue was he could never stay healthy in college. So I mean, you've seen some of that at the NFL level, but I mean, dude's a hell of a player.
yeah. I mean, like, not for nothing, we can't remember everything.
Yeah,
There's
it's
so many.
tough.
There's so many people. You have people listening to this right now, and they're just like, "You moron! He was a
Yeah,
fifth rounder, a fourth." Or it's like, it's because you're
yeah.
a fan of the Rams. We
And
we have to try and be a fan of all 32 teams here.
right, and the cool thing is, I mean, they love to have their strong receiving core, right? With Cooper Cup, Puka Nakua. They used
Hmm.
to have Cooper Cup and Robert Woods back when he was top of his game. You add Devontae Adams to that offense.
Mm.
Stafford's going to pepper him with some targets. He knows how to get open. He might be going to his, I think, his 32-year-old season, but man, his game will translate well as he ages. So I'm excited to see him in that offense.
Yeah. Well, today, we wanted to go over some predictions of who you thought and who I thought are going to be the top of each division. We can go over starting from the bottom, I guess, and all the way to the top. But before we do that, let's go with the top dog of each division. So, very interesting. A lot of different changes this year. Uh, the obviously the draft upgrades everybody, the free agency upgrades everybody, but there's a turning in a lot of different sails and a lot of different ships this year. There was teams that were here and they've dipped down, and there's a chance they can come right back up, and some of this is because of serious injuries and very important uh, spots that, like say quarterbacks or whatever. You know what I mean? If you miss your starting quarterback, of course you're probably not going to win the playoffs or go to the playoffs with your backup. I mean, most of the time. But yeah,
Yeah.
injuries can hinder a team from doing what they do, and then when they come back healthy, they can make a difference again.
Yep.
Um, I was gonna say, would you like to start AFC or NFC?
Let's go AFC.
AFC. All right.
Yeah.
So you want to start with AFC East?
Yeah. I mean, that's your division. Let's do it.
It is. Okay. So I'm gonna start off. I'll start off first here, and I'm going to say the Miami Dolphins 4,
Okay.
the New York Jets 3, the New England Patriots 2, and the Buffalo Bills 1. That is my AFC standout, and I believe that is for me. That's because I see the Buffalo Bills still as that top tier. New England, the New England Patriots getting a very solidified coach, knowing what that culture already is over there with Vrabel, and the Jets getting a solid head coach, but for the first time, so that he could still make a lot of mistakes as a first time head coach. But the Miami Dolphins are really starting to look like they're losing a little bit of gas with
Losing
some
faith
stuff.
in McDaniel.
I think so, man, and that I just think that they are, and I heard it before, and I kind of agreed with it. They're a couple losses away from mid firing. You know what I mean? Mid season firing, in my opinion. I've heard it somewhere else, and I said, hey, you know what? That's not really far off, but they have to find a way to get farther than what they have been. So I am Miami Dolphins, New York Jets, New England Patriots at 2, and Buffalo Bills at 1.
Okay. My list is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go New England in the 4 spot. I like a lot of the moves that they've done this offseason, especially bringing in Vrabel, bringing over Stephon Diggs, loading up on that defense, getting Will Campbell in the draft to help with that solidify that offensive line for Drake May. I still think they're about a year away, but I do like a lot of the moves that they're doing. So I have them finishing 4th in the division. I have the Dolphins at number 3. I know there's been a lot of chatter of Mike McDaniel being on the hot seat, all this stuff, but I do think they're making some pretty big, substantial moves, changing out all the leadership. All the team captains are out, bringing back Minka Fitzpatrick, getting some of these guys that kind of were more vocal out there against McDaniel. So it'll be interesting to see how that team meshes. So it could completely implode, or he can get the team back on track and Tua stays healthy. Tyreek has a huge season, so he's back on board, So have them finish number 3. I do have your New York Jets in the number 2 spot. The reason being is because I think that defense is going to get right back to form, similar to early solid days where they weren't allowing any touchdowns. I love the direction of the new offense. I think Justin Fields will be able to have a career resurgence. I hope they use his legs quite often. And I think they're just going to create a dominant run game. You have a stable of running backs that can be elite with Brees Hall. You have the draft picks from a season ago, the kid from Wisconsin, and then Isaiah Davis. So I think you have a pretty exotic, pretty substantial run game the Jets can do, and that offensive line. You have a chance to have a really, really good offensive line this year.
Yeah.
So I like the 2 tackles. I invested a little bit in guard. So I like the Jets in the number 2 spot. And then the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they've won that division how many times straight since Josh Allen's gotten there? It's hard to pick anybody else there because their defense is great each year despite multiple moving parts on that defense. Josh Allen's still at the top of his game. He won the MVP last season. He can get it done with his legs, huge arm. Their weapons. You gotta give me the Bills the number one spot for the AFC East.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hands down the Bills. Um, and here's a little information for you. So the Jets are mid tier. They have the 16th in strength of schedule, so they can either side, right? But in that division, that is the lowest that they have. So the Jets are at 16th. The Dolphins are at 9. The Bills are at 5, and the New England Patriots are at 2 of the easiest. So it's like there can be a lot of wins in this outside of divisional, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, in this division, in divisional games. So outside of the divisional games, there could be a lot of wins, and it could really get wonky, and that's why I have New England at 2, and the Jets just like I think it's going to be hard for the Jet or hard for other teams trying to pinpoint the Jets because nobody knows what the offense is going to be. They
Yeah.
can get a feel of what Steve Wilkes is going to bring as a defense because he's been around, but nobody. You have a new offensive coordinator, a brand new offensive line. What's going to happen? Like nobody knows what to defend. So
Yeah, and I bet on the talent of Justin Fields. I mean, it was only a couple seasons ago where he broke the rushing yards by a quarterback in the season.
yeah,
So I'm betting on the talent.
all right, I like it. You want to go on to the AFC North?
Ooh, you would pick a toughie after that. Yeah, we can do the AFC North.
All right. Hey, if you want something else, you let me know.
No, no, let's do the North. The
Okay.
North.
The North. You lead us off with this one.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the last.
Okay.
So I believe the Browns will be the fourth in division. I don't really like much of their off-season moves. They didn't really get the quarterback spot figured out. They got old man Flacco out there, which will probably kind of raise that floor a little bit. But defense is going to be great. I think with Miles Garrett and Mason Graham, that's a terrific duo. I think pass rush is going to be off the charts over there. They got a young secondary, so I think they can feast to get some turnovers. But I still have them picked for last in that division. Number three, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Uh, I know they made a bunch of moves with Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, trading for Jalen Ramsey and Johnu Smith, and made a lot of let's fully go in. This is our year type moves. But I just their defense kind of seems stale, kind of old. They don't really match well with a lot of the motions and a lot of stuff in the today's game. So I don't really have that much faith in Pittsburgh this year. So I have them finishing at number three. Number two, Cincinnati Bengals. I think they're going to be much more improved. I mean, Joe Burrow was on a heater last year. He just was playing lights out, but his defense wasn't really helping him out in too many games. And they've invested quite a bit in that defense. They just have to get some contracts situated out, fix some language in some rookie contracts. But I do think they'll be more improved. And I think with Zach Moss coming back healthy, he had the neck injury last year. Maybe they can have some semblance of a run game, pairing him with Chase Brown. I think it'll leave some of that pressure off Burrow. So I like him in the number two spot. And then number one, the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, this team just reloaded, right? They got some great young defenders, got some steals in the draft. You got Mike Green, the pass rusher. You've also got Lamar Jackson, who had an amazing season last year, who probably arguably could have been the MVP over Josh Allen. They added more weapons. You have Derrick Henry, great run game. Your offensive line, you got some question marks because they're going to be replacing three starters, but I still like the Ravens. I think that's their division, and I think they're going to kind of just keep their same mentality, play great defense, have a exotic, dynamic run game, win the division.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm kind of rolling right with you here. The Browns, I have it 4. And you're right about the defense, but also their schedule is brutal. 31st in strength of schedule too.
Oof.
Like they just and their offense is. I'm sorry, but their offense is not ready for that. Their defense might be ready for something like that, but their offense certainly isn't. They don't know what's going to happen. They're still rolling with Joe Flacco, whatever it is, and you know what I mean. So I'm going to go with them for. Um, I am going to be looking at the Bengals as number three,
Okay.
and I think this is going to be a very, very close cut, though. Okay, this is going to be a very, very close cut, and I say this to where I believe that the Ravens, uh, Steelers, and the Bengals are going to be like it can go from one game to the next. One you could be number three and then shift to number one in a matter of one win. I believe it's going to be that close in this division.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say the Bengals. I'm going to say the Steelers. I believe Aaron Rodgers is going to empty out the tank. I think they are going to get this deal done, so they can have T.J. Watt in there. I think they're gonna empty out the tank. I think they know this is a win now team, and they're going to try to do everything that they possibly can. And also in the strength of schedule, you're talking about the Bengals are at 17 strength of schedule, and the Ravens are at 21, and then you have where is he? Steelers are at 24, right? But they don't know what Aaron Rodgers can do. Like he can have a tough schedule. He always finds a way to like carve up defenses and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have the Bengals at three, the Steelers at two, and it's really really hard to go against the Ravens as a number one here, especially when even if Lamar Jackson does go down, because there are games that he doesn't make every single game each year. It is the NFL, but they have a perfect backup quarterback back there this year to run the show if he's out with Cooper Rush. So I think you have another commander, another general back there in case he does miss time, and you have great coaching, and that's my four. I'm going to go Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Ravens at one.
Cool. I like it.
And so you want to pick the next one?
Let's do the AFC South.
FC South.
South
Okay.
side. AFC South. South side.
All right. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go ahead and go first. I went first last time, so we'll just keep switching up.
Fair enough. Okay. So
This
I
is
think
kind of
it's
tough,
gonna,
isn't it?
it kind of is, but it's not in a good way.
Yeah. It's a business. I don't know what's up with. Isn't it kind of funny that the AFC and the NFC kind of mirror each other in terms of
They do.
like the
They
talent
really.
and like it's crazy because NFC South sucks, AFC South kind of sucks. So
I mean, I'm looking at it here. I'm gonna go with the Colts at the bottom of the barrel here. I'm gonna see them as four. They do have an easier schedule, but at the same point, like it's just they just they just can't seem to get the wheels going here, man. And even with their draft of Anthony Richardson, we're hoping that he can make a transition here. We're praying. And then you pick up Daniel Jones and you just draft a guy, and you have so much talent, the running back, the wide receivers, like you got these guys, right? But yet they just can't get the ball rolling here. So um,
I know. I mean, I kind of wish Minshew was still over there. Like
he was de- he was dealing when he was there,
he's
man.
not elite, but like he's an accurate passer when he gets in rhythm. Like he had
He
some bad
loved
stints with
Pittman.
the Raiders and stuff, but like yeah, I mean he had him on the brink of the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hands down, he did. And with that, though, I'm gonna go Titans at number three. I think Cam Ward's gonna have his. He's gonna learn some stuff. They're in the top eight strength of schedule, so it might look a little bit easier for him. Still making mistakes. You know what I mean
Yeah,
as a rookie,
yeah, but
and
it's expected.
yeah, which is exactly it's expected, and I think that could get them a couple wins. So it's going to be Colts and Titans for me at the bottom, and this one's very very tough because both of these teams have upgraded a little bit, except but the Texans have downgraded. I don't want to say downgraded, but it's an unknown with their offensive line right now. So, and the Texans are very very tough, and the last seven of the toughest schedule in the league, and that's very, very hard to take in when you have Jacksonville. That is damn near top five easiest. So I'm gonna have to go with the Texans as two and Jaguars as one here. Not knowing what that offensive line can do for Stroud. Hopefully, I mean, in my opinion, maybe you get some plays going where you release the ball quick. You know what I mean? Maybe you can run that offense a little bit faster, something like that, because we don't know what that offensive line is going to do unless they have phenomenal coaching for the next man up mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And then just Jacksonville just keeps adding people. You know what I mean? They got Brian Thomas Jr., right? Like we all saw him, he came in making moves, right? Doing what he's got to do. Now they got who the hell did they draft?
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter. The kid is a playmaker, okay? Like he's a playmaker. It's not like they don't have Tank Bigsby and ATN. I know it doesn't look, in fantasy terms doesn't look sexy, but those are two really good running backs. Tank Bigsby took a big step last year. And
They
look,
also got they drafted Tootin.
yeah, look, that's a three-headed monster over there. It really is, if utilized correctly. And it's Trevor Lawrence, man. Like Trevor Lawrence, I know he was a lot better in college, but he's not someone to sleep on. And I believe that the Jacksonville Jaguars will take the number one spot in that division.
Okay, I like it. A little bit different towards the top of it, but the bottom ones, I was on the same page with you. I got Colts at number 4. I love a lot of the pieces they have, both on offense and defense. Don't love the quarterback position. I do think they'll probably be a little bit better if they have to start Danny Dimes at
Mm-hmm.
quarterback. I think he gives them, again, it elevates that floor a little bit. He's not the player that he was. He's never been relatively good player, but he gives you some competency at the quarterback position mostly. Um, but also, I think it could be a huge year for Jonathan Taylor, despite them having question marks on offense. I think if Danny Dimes is the quarterback, I think it raises his value and Michael Pittman's value in fantasy. But number 3 spot, I have the Tennessee Titans. I think Cam Ward, he's got some of that playmaking ability. He loves to kind of make a bunch of throws off script. They got some talent down there. They got a couple of receivers that are really good route runners. The one who used to be in Atlanta, Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
So I'm excited for him. I think he could be a pretty good number 1 target. I know he's a little bit older, but I do like Cam Ward and that his connection there. Also, I do like the running backs over there too, with Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears. So I think they're gonna kind of lean on that run game, release some of that pressure off Cam Ward too. So have them in the number 3 spot. Number 2, I had the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do like Trevor Lawrence. I think this could be a year that he puts it all together, plays a full season, and plays well. But I'm not banking on it. I do think Travis Hunter is a great player. Is he going to be playing more defense? Is he going to be playing more offense? We don't really know. I do like their defense that they have over there. Then they got some talent, the edge rushing spot, pretty good linebackers. So, but I got to go with the Texans' number 1 spot. I'm counting on C.J. Stroud. I'm betting on C.J. Stroud. I think he's a lot better player than he showed last year. And I do think that the offensive line will be improved. Last year was pretty abysmal. He was getting beat up game after game after game. So it's going to be hard to be much worse than it was last year. But they made a lot of moves. They got him some playmakers at receiver. You trade for Christian Kirk. You take the Iowa State receivers in the draft. You sign Nick Chubb to pair with Joe Mixon over there. So I like their run game. And their defense. You got D'Amico Ryans at the head coach spot. He's the general. He's the one that's going to lead the troops. I love his schemes. He does a great job on defense, kind of create turnovers. So I do like the Texans to win that division. So for my order, I have Texans in the number 1 spot, then Jacksonville Jaguars, then the Tennessee Titans, and then the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, and D'Amico Ryan has shown that he was able to bring them up within 1 year too. Right?
Oh, yeah.
He came in, he just like chip shaped it. So he can do it again. Yeah, it was tough for me to put the 2 and a 1.
Hey, well, we gotta wait till the season and see who's right.
Yeah,
see who comes out on top.
It's all being recorded.
We can hit the archives. We'll come back to it.
Word, yeah. With that, we can, if you want, what do you want to just close in on AFC West?
That's the last of the AFC.
Yeah. We can close in the last of that. All right, you start off with this one because yours probably going to be a lot different than mine.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Okay. So for the AFC West, at the number 4 spot, I have the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hmm.
So I don't know if there's been a team that's changed more in one offseason this year than the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
New head coach, new quarterback, new running back, a lot of talent on the offensive line. You signed some defenders in free agency, so I love a lot of the moves the Raiders have done. I do think Pete Carroll kind of adds an extra win or two, just based on his coaching tendencies and his experience in the league. But I do think that they are still at the bottom of the division, so I do feel like they'll finish fourth. Number 3, I had the Los Angeles Chargers. So Jim Harbaugh, and he's one of the Harbaugh brothers. He took over that team. You know exactly what you want to be. You want to be a smash mouth, run downhill, play great defense, limit possessions, that type of team, right? So you have Justin Herbert, who played pretty well last year, dealt with some injuries. You invest a little bit in a receiver. They took Trey Harris from Ole Miss, I believe, in the second round. But you have a great defense. You took Omarion Hampton in the first round. I don't know if he's going to be that much of a factor this year. I mean, they signed Najee Harris. I think they want him to be the bell cow. He's the veteran, and they don't necessarily really need Omarion Hampton to be the guy, start the season off right. So I do think Chargers are kind of not quite at that same level as the next two teams we're going to talk about. So I do have them finishing at the number 3 in the division. Number 2, Denver Broncos. Defense, absolutely phenomenal, lights out. They crushed it last year. They were great in real life, great in fantasy, and they just added more pieces to that defense with drafting Jahdae Barron in the first round. The offense, I think, is just going to get better. You have more of the Sean Payton touch on there with Bo Nix. They're starting to get that connection similar to what he had with Breeze. You add more weapons on offense with Pat Bryant. They took in the third round, took the running back from, what was it, Central Florida, UCF? I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Who's the rookie that they took? Harvey? RJ
RJ.
Harvey? Yeah, RJ Harvey. So you got a guy that can kind of be that bell cow over there. You add the tight end from Jacksonville. Man, I'm just blanking on all the names today.
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram, yeah. So I think that offense is going to just take that next step. You got more weapons for Boomer Bo. So I have them being number 2 in the division. I don't know how if they're going to make the playoffs or how they'll do, but I do like their chances, and I think they're going to greatly improve. And number 1, I have Kansas City Chiefs. It's really hard for me to bet against Big Red and Patrick Mahomes. You got a healthy Rashee Rice coming back this year, which I think is going to add kind of that number 1 receiving threat in the passing game. You have Xavier Worthy. You got old man Travis Kelce. So I like a lot of the pieces on offense. I think they're going to become more explosive, and I think they'll continue to improve. And that defense, it's young. Spags got them flying around. I really enjoy what they've done at adding the pieces with Trent McDuffie, Nick Bolton. And you still have Chris Jones, who's a monster over there. You have George Karlaftis, edge rusher off the end too. So I think Chiefs are still the team to beat in the AFC West until they prove that they're not. I got to rock with them in number 1 spot.
Yeah. I believe that the AFC West is kind of going to be like the AFC North, 3 through 1, where at any given point, one win can solidify the first place, and this is going to be it's going to be wild.
It'll be trading hands quite often.
Right? Yes, I really believe that, and starting at the bottom, I think the Raiders are going to have a good season, but at the same time, they're still going to be the bottom of the AFC West here. I think they're going to get some wins in the division as well because people don't know what to expect out of this offense. They don't know what's going to happen. They have playmakers on there, so there's going to be look, Brock Bowers is still going to be playmaking. You have brand new Genti over there, and you have offensive coordinator Chip
Oh, Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly.
Yeah, I didn't even
So
talk about Brock Bowers. That's how. Man, that's my guy too.
it's almost like they're going to get these wins, but at the same time, like you said, they're brand new. And number three, I think it's the Chargers. I think yes, it's hard nose. It's hard nose. Their defense is going to be very tough, and they might exchange some divisional wins and losses. But I just see the Chargers settling in on at that three, and yeah, it's going to be the run game. You know what I mean? And Justin Herbert is a great passer. He is, but they're all going to have high wins. I'm telling you, it's going to be very, very hard for any AFC team to get into the playoffs this year. It's going to be very, very difficult, and it's because of the AFC North and the AFC West. I think that's part of it. So I'm going Raiders, Chargers three, and I'm seeing a turn here. I'm seeing a shifting of the sales, and Chiefs are going to be my number two here, and they are going to look. They have the 27th hardest, 27 out of 32, one of the hardest schedules there. Now I'm not saying that that's going to solidify them in this number two role at any given point. I know that they could win, right? They've proven that they could do behind the back passes, 3-point shots with Patrick Mahomes, whatever it is, right?
Blocking field goals, whatever. They
Exactly. But
won so
then
many different ways last year.
yeah, and then you got Denver within a very, very average, in the middle kind of schedule here. Okay. And with that defense, I think they can take care of things. I remember saying last year, the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs, I said the Denver Broncos are gonna give them their first loss, and the only reason that they didn't is because he boinked the friggin' kick, or they blocked.
It got blocked. It got
They
blocked.
got blocked. Yeah.
Don't put that on Lutz. He didn't doink it. Come on.
So relax over there, okay? You and your Saints, your ex Saints over there,
Former Saints, yeah.
former Saints. But look, they have the potential. And I think we've all seen what they're capable of doing. Their defense is monstrous. We already have them ranked as the number one defense overall this year coming in. You know what I mean? Overall. And on top of that, Bo Nix is going into another year with Sean Payton. I think he knows what's expected out of him. And Sean Payton has his new. I'm not going to say he's the new Drew Brees, but that he's got somebody that understands what he wants to do in this offense, and he knows how to utilize him. He gave him more leash as the season went by. And hey, we're going to throw it a little bit farther, a little bit farther, a little bit farther. Not to mention, you have Sutton, you have Mims as that wide receiver too, you have Evan Ingram, you have three running backs ready to rock and roll. I think they could take this division this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's just hard for me to count out Big Red and them.
Again, one win could send you down to third spot. You know what I mean? That's what I'm seeing here.
It's gonna be a lot of fun to revisit this.
Yeah, it is.
At the end of the year.
You want to move on to the NFC?
Might as well.
Okay. You want to start back to the east side again?
Yeah, we'll go same order. That's fine.
Okay. So since I went last time, I'll go first this time. Look, we're just gonna. I don't think there's anything sitting here. Okay, the Giants are gonna stop anywhere on top. They're gonna stop at fourth here. Okay, they're gonna be the fourth in this division. They have the absolute worst schedule in the league here. Okay, 32 out of 32. That's the hardest schedule in the league, and that's what they have. They need more offensive line help. They haven't addressed that, and they only picked one offensive tackle during the draft. They haven't really made any significant changes. They have playmakers, so they'll be playing from behind, but I believe that it's going to be the Giants. I think the Cowboys are going to give a run for a long time, but they're going to be my number three. And I believe that something will happen, as it always does with the Cowboys. They'll have their they're going to go, and then something's going to happen. I don't know what it is, but they seem to lose juice sometimes, and I think that's going to happen again. They're going to be my three. My number two is going to be the Eagles. The Eagles are going to be coming in, Super Bowl champs. You can never count them out. I get it. But I think this second year, I'm not saying that Jaden Daniels is going to put in the same amount of I'm not comparing this to fantasy. You know what I mean? Like, you might not have Jaden Daniels do it exactly what he did in fantasy, but that doesn't mean that this team has not upgraded and they don't know what to expect out of this Eagles defense. And I believe that Jaden Daniels takes his job very seriously. I believe he shows up early and leaves late. He is invested in that virtual reality bit, and he wants to understand how to win this division and how to win a Super Bowl. So I'm going to take Commanders year 2 with Jaden Daniels on top.
All right, fair enough. Yep. So with my number 4 spot, I have the New York Giants. I do like a lot of the moves they did in the offseason, bringing up Abdul Carter, drafting Jackson Dart. I think it's going to be best for his development if he sits a year. So I don't want him to see the field at all. I do hope that they are able to trade Jameis to a quarterback needy team that could definitely use him because I don't think he'll play. I don't think he'll get to play as much as long as Russell Wilson stays healthy. But Giants, I think they're a couple of years away, so they're definitely number 4 on the spot. This is where I had a tough time. The number 3 spot. I'm gonna go a little bit different. I'm gonna go the Commanders.
Okay.
So I think there's going to be a small step back. I like a lot of the moves that they've done, trading for Laramie Tunsil, bringing in Debo Samuel. But I think a lot of teams are going to have another year of film on Jaden Daniels. I love that he does the virtual reality. He's an elite player, and I think he's going to be great as he continues on. But there's not a lot of depth in that receiving room. So if there's any type of injuries or if they're not able to get the McLaurin deal done, that makes me a lot more nervous. Defense will be improved. That's their head coach's specialty. So, Mr. Dan Quinn. So, but I just think they're going to take a slight step back. Which might be a little controversial, but that's how I feel. And number 2 spot, got the Dallas Cowboys. I think Dak's going to come back healthy this year. He looks great. He's leaned up quite a bit. You bring in George Pickens to pair with CeeDee Lamb. You have a new defense coordinator coming in, Mike Zimmer. I think he retired or stepped away or whatnot. But you're going to have more that defense kind of step up and get back to kind of more of their older ways when Dan Quinn was there. Running back, the running game, I'm not sure what that's going to be, but I do like Jaden Blue. I think he could kind of end up being that number 1 guy down there to pair with Javonte Williams. He might not have the same size, but I think he's got great receiving ability. So I like him a lot. And then number 1, I have the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champs. Their defense is young. They're switching out a bunch of different pieces on the defensive line, but their coaching is phenomenal. They got Vic Fangio over there leading that defense. The offense, we know what to expect. You got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. You got Jalen Hurts at the helm. You got Saquon Barkley. I don't think he'll have another, billion touches or whatever that he did last year, but I think he will be another big part of the offense. So I got to go with the Eagles number 1.
Hard to bet against them, man. It really is just like the Chiefs and AFC West, Ravens and AFC North. Yeah, it's really, really hard to bet against these guys.
This will be a fun division to watch, too. I mean, it could really go, like we said, a lot of this on multiple divisions, but, I mean, just 1 or 2 games can really swing this thing.
Yeah. Let's go to the NFC North. You want to start us off on that one?
Yeah, so I'll probably have some more controversy on this one, but I have the Minnesota Vikings at the number 4 spot.
Okay.
You have J.J. McCarthy. He's going to be its first full year, so technically it's not his rookie year, but he kind of really is his rookie year. Don't know how he's going to do. He's got great weapons to throw to. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson. They upgraded the offensive line, and that defense was lights out. I think they led the league in turnovers last year. I want to say something like that.
Okay.
So I do like the Vikings a lot. I think I'm not sold on J.J. McCarthy, so I have them at the number 4 spot. Number 3, I have the Chicago Bears. I think Ben Johnson's going to have them much improved, but I still think they're maybe a year away. You made major upgrades on the offensive line. Expect Caleb Williams to kind of take that leap in year 2. They got a good amount of weapons over there with DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. Then you drafted the tight end from Michigan, Colston Loveland, to pair with Cole Komet. There we go. Took me a second. But then that defense, I mean, you got, um, gosh, losing it. You got Dennis Allen taking over that defense over there, and they were played great last year under Eberflus until they kind of gave up on him. But you got Dennis Allen, whose strength is in the secondary. They got a young, good, deep secondary over there. So I think they're going to be much improved. But I have them finishing at number 3. Number 2, I have the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to definitely feel the hit off the coordinators, losing both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson in the offseason. But you got so much talent over there that it's going to be really hard to knock off, completely out of the division. Jared Goff's been playing great down up there in Detroit. You have Jamar Gibbs. You got um, Monty over there. I don't know why I can't think
David
of
Montgomery.
David Montgomery. But the only thing, you're losing Frank Ragnow at center, so that's gonna be a tough blow on that offensive line. Aiden Hutchinson should be back, and he was lighting the league on fire in terms of pressures and his sacks. So I do think they're going to be definitely a team to beat in the NFC, but I have them finishing at number 2. Number 1, I have Green Bay Packers. I think you got LaFleur over there. They've added more weapons for Jordan Love, ton of receivers. So I wouldn't be surprised if they end up moving one. But if not, you have a crazy amount of depth, and you can do a lot of different things, a lot of different schemes with them over there. You got Josh Jacobs, bell cow running back, great defense. I think that defensive scheme they did last year was great for them. You got a lot of talent on that defensive side of the ball. So I think this is the Green Bay Packers division to lose.
I can see that. I'm gonna turn your whole world upside down with this one.
All right.
We're gonna start off at number 4. We're gonna start with Detroit Lions.
Okay.
I
thought I was bold.
Yeah, I think Detroit Lions lost a lot. You're gonna have a whole bunch of different schemes: offense, defense. People are coming back from injury. They do have playmakers and such, which is great. But they're gonna have to learn basically some new systems over there. You know what I mean? You lost a lot of people from the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and it's going to be pretty wild to see them try to put everything back together. Now, there was times that you heard Dan Campbell allowed some of these guys to, hey, run the meetings and do this and do that because they had faith in them. So I do believe that he can distill a very the same culture that he had, but you have to have faith that the next guys coming up are going to be as bold as Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. And that's a very, very big hope that you have to have. So I am boldly going to say that they are going to finish last in this division. And I mean, don't forget, they were 0-6 at one point, and they did have a kind of breakthrough, and they started making things happen. So
talking about a couple years ago.
Yeah, and then they had a breakthrough, and they just started coming through with it, right? But I'm gonna put the Lions down here. I'm gonna have the Green Bay Packers at number 3. And as many times as they have a lot better of a defense that they used to, they keep on getting weapons for Love. Christian Watson, I believe, is he out for the season here?
Most likely, yeah. I think he tore his ACL. So.
And you have two rookie wide receivers coming in. I believe I don't think right off the bat they're going to be just making plays and doing this and doing that. But they still are based off of the run game, which I understand. It's I get it, but for some reason, when Green Bay sometimes when they're supposed to win, they just don't, and they're a disappointing great team sometimes, and you just have these expectations that they should do certain things based upon that old school Shanahan type of system, and for some reason, when you have these expectations that they should win, they don't. And that has not changed for me. That continues to happen even when you see the greatness in this team. They're wide receivers right now. You can utilize them, and they can just break out, and you don't know who's going to catch the ball and what scheme they're running, and then they'll lose. And it's like it just kind of I can't rack my brain around it sometimes. So what I will say is that they are within the realm of the last 10 of the strength of schedule, and the Lions are the 30th with the strength of schedule. And you're talking about that with new offensive coordinators, new defensive coordinators. You're going to have to deal with that kind of problem. And I'm going to put the Bears right at number 2. Okay, the Bears, I believe they're coming in, and they're going to swing for the fences here. And I think that there's going to be a stability right there, starting off, no games played, and Ben Johnson's going to put a stamp on the offense. I really do. And I believe that they have a lot of playmakers on defense as well and offense, and they just drafted a bunch of people. They're stacked over there. And I really think that they're going to make some noise. And that would put me with the Vikings at number 1. I'm going to say this right now. I'm not going to make the same mistake that I did last year. Last year, I went on a podcast and I ranked the Minnesota Vikings as being dead last, and I went game for game on which ones they were going to win and which ones they were going to lose. Boy, was I wrong. Okay? I'm not doing that again this year. In fact, I'm doubling down on them. Nobody expected Sam Darnold to have the year that he had last year. This is the second year J.J. McCarthy is going to be on this team, maybe not playing, but obviously they have some really good quarterbacks that are running that room. Okay, they had some former quarterbacks, one that's the head coach and one that's the quarterback coach. Okay, I think that he does phenomenal. I don't see why they shouldn't if everybody that's walking through that door seems to be doing good. So I'm going to double down on the Vikings this year.
All right.
And I know it's complete mirror flop. And by the way, I'm going against the grain even more so, saying that the Vikings are 28 out of 32 with the strength of schedule. Okay, so that is really like.
Quick question on that. So the higher the number, the harder the schedule. The
Mhm.
lower number, the easier schedule. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't clear on that part. So
no, you're good. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to like the Giants. The Giants are 32 out of 32. I mean, that just means that it's really, really difficult for them to, make anything happen. You know what I mean? So it's, but if I am looking at this correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm looking at, I think there is just in this one base that I usually look at. I don't see the Bears on here. I think they're missing one.
do they have a team twice on there?
I'm guessing that they probably do, but I don't see them on here, so I'll have to look at it. But
Chicago has such an easy schedule; they're not even on there. They're at 0.
They're at 0.
Yeah, they're at 0.
But yeah, that's mine. Detroit Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings.
Yeah, I'll recap mine just so you can see how different it is. I had Packers, Lions, Bears, and Vikings.
And it's all right it's all right to do that. You know what I mean? Like I think people are.
Yeah, if we're agreeing on something, something's wrong.
Word.
Word. We both have a different way of thinking and viewing the league, so this is where it's fun.
Yeah, you want to make sure that not a show that always agrees on everything is boring as hell.
Yeah, it's facts.
I'm sorry, Chicago. Here it is, 26th.
Okay.
So 30th is the Detroit Lions, 28th is the Vikings, 26th is Chicago, and where am I looking at?
Packers.
Packers are 23, so they're all within the last 10.
Wow.
They're tough. So.
All right, now we get to get into the division that's closest to my heart.
The NFC West.
NFC South, baby. South side.
All right. Show us what you got, pretty lady.
Oh, you want me to start?
Yeah. No, I just went last, so I'll go first.
Okay.
All right. So this one little harder. I do see Carolina.
Just rip the Band-Aid off, dude. Come on. Just say it.
I do see Carolina making progress at the end of last year. On the other hand, they still have to make a lot of drastic changes, and I have the Panthers finishing actually last again,
Okay.
and
Technically, I don't think they finished last year. I think it was us. I
what
think it's the Saints.
were they?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I have the Saints as number 3, and I think that the new head coach, what is his name again?
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. It'll take a little bit to get under his feet, to get everybody used to stuff. I think they're going to find some ways for the quarterback to be comfortable, people to get open. Uh, from being with the Philadelphia Eagles, I think his run game over there was very, very good. I think he will bring that establishment over to the New Orleans Saints and, uh, just kind of get their feet wet, get everybody ready to roll with it. So I think they're going to finish in that 3 spot. And, it's not going to, it might be a little lackadaisical possibly, but, it's a brand new startup here. You know what I mean? So I think that they're going to finish in the 3 spot there. And this is where I had a lot of tugging back and forth here with the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Bucks, but it's really, really hard. You got a lot of weapons over there in Atlanta and a lot of weapons over there at Tampa Bay, but I am going to go with the Falcons at 2, and I think the Falcons are going to make some noise here and there, and they got Penix coming up, and that's great. I am still kind of fishy on him. He made some noise towards the end. I understand they have Kirk Cousins as a solid backup. That's not a bad backup at all. But you got Bijan over there. You know what I mean? You have Algier is still there too. So it's like that running game is still a 1-2. You got Drake London, and Penix was really, really hammering it to him like when he was in there. And then you have Kyle Pitts that is over there, who's still, look, he might not be good in fantasy, but he's a hell of a player still. You can't deny the talent. And is it Darnell Mooney still over there? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, he is. That's
Yep.
right. And Darnell Mooney's a perfect, perfect wide receiver too. He is where he's, but it really takes me back kind of. I mean, they're still underneath this duo, but Julio Jones and Roddy White were some of the best duos over there. And I don't see them conquering over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 1. I do not see them conquering that Todd Bowles defense that added 800 pounds and 2 guys to stop the run game. Okay, now whether he makes it through camp or not, that's a different story, right? But also you got Mike Evans, you have Rashad White, you have Bucky Irving, you have a solidified offensive line. You have a handful of wide receivers ready to roll now. You know what I mean? So if one person's out, you have so many toys to play with. You're talking about Baker Mayfield with 41 touchdowns last year being thrown. So it's really hard to count them out, especially when they're in the top 10 of the easiest schedule. Okay? And even though the Falcons are number 4, they're still going to have to run through the Buccaneers too. So the Buccaneers were showing it last year when they just weren't going down without a fight. They wanted to feed the ball to their wide receivers. They wanted to make sure that they could run the ball when they wanted to run the ball. So, my grading here and my ranking is Panthers at 4, Saints at 3, Falcons at 2, Tampa at 1.
Well, I think did Tampa and Atlanta split the series last year, or did Atlanta take both of them?
I'd have to look that up.
Okay. All right, I'll go and get started. So this was pretty painful to do this, but I have the Saints finishing at number 4.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of the direction that Kellen Moore has done with the Saints. It's the first fresh vision, fresh everything since Sean Payton in 2006. So he's going to be able to build it his way. I hope he gets the leash and the runway to do that. But he drafted his quarterback. He got Tyler Shuck at pick 40. You still have Alvin Kamara. You've got Chris Olave coming back healthy. Hopefully Taysom Hill comes back healthy as well. You got a lot of aging veterans on that defense. But I think with the defensive transition to a 3-4, I got to see it. So I do have the Saints finishing in number 4 in the division. I got Carolina at number 3. I think Bryce Young showed a lot of improvement and a lot of promise towards the end of the season last year. So uh, you also add more weapons in that offense, right? You have Xavier Legette. You got Jalen Coker that came on last year. You have Chuba Hubbard, who's a great running back over there. And they added more pieces on defense. So I like them for the number 3 spot. Got the Atlanta Falcons, number 2. I don't know how Penix is going to do this year. Like you said, he did make some noise towards the end of last season. They have a ton of weapons, solid offensive line. Defense is pretty solid, but it's Atlanta Falcons. They've blown bigger leads than that, so it's kind of hard to trust them, especially I mean late in the season that they lost to the Saints, and when they were favored very heavily, and that kind of cost them the division. So I have them at the number 2 spot. And then number 1, Tampa Bay Bucks. I mean, they just reloaded on offense. They got more weapons for Baker. The offensive line is still going to be great. Taking a hit with Tristan Wirfs, missing the first basically month of the season. But I think they'll be able to navigate through that. You got that solid Bulls defense, a bunch of playmakers on that side of the ball as well. So I just think the Bucks is the team to beat in that division. So, and just to recap, I got the Bucks in the number 1 spot, Falcons number 2, Panthers number 3, and the Saints at number 4.
Fair enough. You want to take us over to the NFC West?
Yes. Let's go to the NFC West. This one's a little bit tougher. This one was really hard for me to rank, I'll be honest. I don't know if it was the hardest one, but it was up there. But number 4, I had the Seattle Seahawks. So I think second year Mike McDonald coming in, bringing over that Ravens defensive system. You make the swap. You have Sam Darnold at QB1. You ship out DK Metcalf, bring in Cooper Kupp. You add some talent on the offensive line with Gray Zabel. Can play any position on the offensive line. So I don't know how it's going to look. We've seen Sam Darnold be good. We've seen him be really bad. We don't know which one we're going to get. Hopefully he plays well, but until I see it, I'm going to have him in the number 4 spot. Cardinals at number 3. I like a lot of what Jonathan Gannon and that squad over there has done with this team. Kyler Murray, I think he's going to have a huge year. I like Kyler Murray a lot. I think he's an explosive playmaking athlete at the quarterback position. He might not have the height, but he can ball, right? They got a ton of weapons. Marvin Harrison Jr. You got the Stanford kid, Michael Wilson. So you got Trey McBride, your favorite player ever. The offensive line is going to be more improved. And that defense, I mean, their defense was pretty nasty last year. I think they beat the Eagles, I believe, last year, right?
Cardinals?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that defense is no joke, and they're just going to continue to grow, and they've added a lot of talent on the defensive line over there. So I think Cardinals are going to be a problem. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Shanahan, despite all of the adversity and losing multiple Super Bowls over the last few seasons, I think he'll get them back on track. They paid Brock Purdy. You have Ayuk coming back from injury. Pearsall hopefully takes a step. You have George Kittle that's playing great football right now. Offensive line's still solid. And that defense, you're bringing over Robert Saleh, who's going to kind of shape up that defense and fix it, get it right. And you added a ton of talent on that defensive side of the ball in the draft. So I like them at the number 2 spot for the 49ers. Number 1, Los Angeles Rams. I think Sean McVay is the kind of guru to beat at this point in that division. You got Stafford, who's still out there performing. He still has the cannon. He's at that stage in his career where he knows exactly what's going to be thrown at him. You add Devontae Adams to that offense. I think he's going to be great. Takes the pressure off Puka Nacua. You add Terrence Ferguson at tight end. Offensive line is going to be improved. You have a stable of running backs. And that defense was pretty solid last year with Jared Verse, Defensive Rookie of the Year, coming out, kind of replacing Aaron Donald in that mold. Secondary is kind of shaky, but I think I trust Sean McVay in that offense kind of carry them, and they'll win the division.
Okay, I like that. I kind of followed suit here with the Seattle Seahawks down at that 4 spot. I just don't see. It's really hard to compete with these other 3 teams that have established head coaches here. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
this, they're coming in new and everything. And I get you had Sam Darnold coming off of a great,
Career year.
yeah, great career year, but he doesn't have the same head coaches. Okay, so you got a defensive head coach here. You know, trying to run stuff, and that's okay. But at the same time, like, you're going against some teams that really know how to put teams together, and it's going to be very, very hard. So I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to start at that 4 spot. Shockingly enough, I thought these 2 teams are going to go back and forth, and I have the Los Angeles Rams at number 3. And I do like the fact that they got Devontae Adams over there, Puka Nakua, Kyron Williams. They have a lot of people on defense over there that are going to make some noise, and they're trying to solidify that offensive line. And it's really hard to bet against Sean McVay. On the other hand, they have a very, very tough, very, very tough strength of schedule with the 20th out of 32. And right above them, I see the Arizona Cardinals with the 11th overall. So that's one of the easiest that you can get almost. And I think having Kyler Murray run around the way he always does, gaining yards, making plays. Second year with Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in, Trey McBride. You have that. You still have the Terminator Connor over there, still making 100-yard games and still getting touchdowns each year. And that defense, like you said, was very good. I think that they could trade places often, between second and third. I'm just gonna pick them overall to come in that second spot, and I think San Francisco comes about number 1 overall here. I think that getting their defensive coordinator back that they lost 5 years ago, and bringing people that were already on that system right in there to help everybody learn this as quick as they can, as fast as they can, and then they just kept drafting defensive linemen to clog up that run game. I think their defense is going to be solidified maybe like week 4, week 5, and San Francisco has the easiest schedule for the NFL this year.
They're number 1. Wow.
And look,
Who's number 2?
number 2 would be New England Patriots.
Oh, okay, that's right. I think you said that earlier.
And that's why I have them ranked number 2 in the NFC or AFC East.
Yeah.
Because it's really look, you just can't bet against the Bills. So I don't do everything, to be honest with you. I don't do everything based upon the strength of schedule, but I do factor it in.
You put a lot of weight into it. It feels like.
It does sound like it, but it's like if I put too much weight into it, I wouldn't have the Bills number 1, right? But Bills have so many playmakers, and it's Josh Allen is a general over there, But I went against the grain with Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota was very, very low on that, and they have a very tough schedule. But just logically thinking of things that should be placed here and placed there, then I will insert the schedule and say, hey, you know what? Maybe they're not ready with a first-time coach, or maybe they're not ready with this guy or that guy. And
you got to think logically and then fire off with vibes. Go off vibes.
Yeah, but when any given Sunday shows up, everybody's wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know how that goes. But hey, that's our
these are predictions for July 9th, 2025 for
we can
the
always go back to it.
2025 season.
Let me tell you something, man. When I went against the Minnesota Vikings last year,
it sounds like it scarred you.
Dude, no, like I was getting hammered on. I said, I think they're going to win against this team or that team. And I only had them winning like 3 games or 4 games, right? And even the guy on there, I forget which podcast it was. He ran a good podcast too, but I was only on there for just a quick episode because nobody would cover the Vikings. So I said, yeah, I'll try it out. And I tried it out, and he was like, all right, I'll allow that win. I'll allow that one. You know what I mean? Because everybody's expected, even me. I expected, just them not being the best. And boy, was everybody wrong. 14. What was it?
They went like 13-4 or something like that.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Nobody expected that. So
yeah. In our dynasty, when JJ McCarthy went down, I scooped up Sam Darnold pretty quick. with just
Yeah.
hopes, and it kind of bailed me out a couple weeks. So
Yeah, man. And it's just one of those things where any given Sunday happens, right? You know,
Yeah.
and when somebody's got a hot hand, you run the hot hand, right?
it's facts.
So it is what it is. But wild takes, email us at topdogcoverage@gmail.com. That's TOPDAWG coverage@gmail.com. Let us know what you guys think, how stupid you guys think we are, because look, we fly off the handle sometimes, and that's just what it is. Okay,
Shoot from the hip.
we don't really have we based upon what we think, what we believe, most about what we see. You know what I mean? We've been doing this for a couple of years now, and that's why we started the show. And trust me, we're getting some backlash on it. So, but speaking of everything, C-Dub, it's been real, it's been fun, just hasn't been real fun. So that's what it is. Hope everybody's having a great night. Enjoy your night. Follow us. Make sure you swipe up, hit the 5 stars, leave the comment. Follow us at YouTube, Top Dog Coverage, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram. Leave the comment, 5 stars. We love you guys. Have a great night.
Peace.